Hi there, I'm Emma, a 26-year-old girl. I met my boyfriend through an online game, and we've been together for precisely 1 year. Initially, I had reservations about our online connection, but we soon realized that our similar family backgrounds brought us closer. He has become the person who understands me the most and holds immense importance in my life. Recently, we received an invitation to an outdoor party hosted by his friend. We decided to attend the event as a couple, which turned out to be a delightful barbecue at his friend's father's cabin. The food was delicious, and I had the pleasure of meeting his friends for the first time. They were all wonderful individuals. Although I felt a bit nervous initially, by the time we left, I was completely at ease. On our way back, he suddenly pulled over the car and began speaking. "What did you think about my friends? They are genuinely great people. I'm grateful that we connected and had a great time together. Thank you for accompanying me. Truly, I'm glad too. I hope we can continue having fun like this, ideally as husband and wife. What do you think?" His words took me by surprise. Was he proposing? Of course, my answer was an ecstatic yes. It felt like a dream come true. We were filled with excitement. In the spur of the moment, we decided to hold our wedding there and embarked on our way to a memorable hotel. That hotel held sentimental value to us, as it was the place he took me on our very first drive date when we had just started dating. Nestled in the tranquil mountains, the hotel boasts a breathtaking view of the lake from its restaurant. As fate would have it, there was another couple having their wedding at that very moment, and we couldn't help but admire the beauty of it. We both agreed that having our wedding there would be incredible. However, our hopes were dashed upon arrival. The hotel, though secluded, is renowned for its elevated status and comes with a price tag beyond our budget for a wedding. It was disheartening, but we knew deep down that we would find a way to make our dream wedding a reality. We are young and have plenty of time ahead to save up. Meanwhile, we will cherish our engagement and joyfully plan our future together. In that moment, we were making our way back from an outdoor event, casually dressed in t-shirts, jeans, and sneakers, with backpacks in tow. It was evident that our attire didn't quite fit the upscale atmosphere of the hotel we had entered. Regrettably, the bellhop, who should have greeted us, glanced in our direction and blatantly ignored our presence. We even caught him exchanging looks and laughter with other staff members. Self-consciousness began to creep in as we became aware of our mismatched appearance. However, my boyfriend, filled with confidence, strode forward, leading me deeper into the lobby. During this time, the front desk staff whispered among themselves, pointing in our direction. The entire situation felt uncomfortable. The last time we had been here, we were dressed more formally, and the atmosphere had been entirely different. Feeling out of place, I tugged at my boyfriend's hand, but he gently pulled mine back, silently reassuring me not to worry. Eventually, we reached the concierge desk. As soon as the concierge laid eyes on us, a flicker of surprise crossed their face. After scrutinizing our appearance, they asked us, sporting a cold smile, "May I help you?" Part of me wanted to retort that, of course, we needed help, that's precisely why we were standing there. However, I allowed my boyfriend to handle the situation. He calmly stated, "Actually, we are considering holding our wedding ceremony here. Could you please direct us to the wedding reception desk?" Upon hearing our request, the concierge's face contorted into a clear display of disgust. "This isn't your typical city hotel. It caters to celebrities and the wealthy. I don't think it's the kind of place where people like you would hold a wedding." Fully aware of the implications behind his statement, I mustered my courage and responded, "We understand. We have been here before, and we absolutely adore the view. We thought it would be a perfect location for our ceremony." Unyielding, the concierge reiterated, "I'm telling you that this isn't a place where people like you would have a wedding." "What do you even mean by that?" Hoping to diffuse the escalating tension, I interjected, "Could you please connect us to the wedding reception desk?" I could sense the concierge's frustration growing as their voice grew louder, but I remained determined to pursue our dream. I gently squeezed his hand, trying to calm him down, while the concierge continued with their disdainful remarks. What I'm saying is, this hotel is not a place for people like you who are financially struggling. I kindly request that you leave immediately. The audacity of the concierge's words hit us hard. He had essentially called us poor, despite his polite phrasing. I was ready to give him a piece of my mind, but I decided to let my boyfriend handle the situation. He addressed the concierge firmly. Did you just call your customer poor? What's wrong with the staff training at this hotel? Sir, I must ask you to leave this lobby immediately. Your behavior is tarnishing the environment and inconveniencing other guests. The concierge's response was filled with condescension. Even if you worked your entire life and saved every penny, you still couldn't afford a wedding here. A tour would be a complete waste of time, wouldn't it? My boyfriend's patience was wearing thin, but he managed to keep his composure. He exclaimed, "That's enough. Let's go home. We're attracting unnecessary attention from other customers." I knew my boyfriend's deep-rooted sense of justice had been triggered. He despised injustice so intensely that he became relentless when dealing with people who acted unfairly. However, this often led to animosity and escalated tensions. Frustrated, I questioned the concierge. How did you even learn about customer service? As a concierge, aren't you supposed to be a specialist? Is it acceptable to treat us in such a manner? At that moment, a voice emerged from behind us, catching everyone's attention. It was the manager, who had come over, thinking we were causing a disturbance. My boyfriend explained the situation stoically. We are simply asking to be shown around because we are interested in having a wedding here. Just like the other staff members, the manager scrutinized us from head to toe, let out a dismissive chuckle, and said, "I'm afraid a wedding at our hotel might be beyond your means." The concierge joined in, reinforcing the manager's statement. That's exactly what I told them, but they refused to leave, causing a problem. Continuing our conversation, the manager expressed his concern. Your prolonged presence in the lobby is causing a disturbance to our other guests. I'm sorry, but I believe it would be best for you to give up on the idea of having a wedding here and please leave. Not ready to give up just yet, my boyfriend interjected. Hold on a second. We were simply asking for a tour because we're genuinely interested in having a wedding at this venue. Can't you just show us around? Asserting his authority, the manager replied, I am the manager of this hotel, and if you continue to linger here, I will have to call security. So, what do you need to do in order to look around? Well, if you were to buy the entire hotel and become the owner, but that's not going to happen. His words pushed me to the edge, and I thought, what on earth is he talking about? However, my thoughts were interrupted as the manager said, I see, so that's how it is. The owner, huh? And began to contemplate something. Just as security personnel started approaching us, I quickly grabbed my boyfriend's hand and urged him to leave. As we walked away, with our backs to the manager, he began issuing instructions to the concierge, instructing them to contact the cleaning staff to immediately clean the supposedly dirty lobby. In my mind, I couldn't help but curse their attitudes, which felt far dirtier than anything else. We left the hotel behind, feeling upset. I thought of taking a walk in the garden and admiring the lake before heading home. However, our presence didn't go unnoticed by the same manager from before as we strolled through the garden. He approached us with a troubled expression, saying, yes, this is troublesome. If you wander around here, it could ruin the view for other guests who are enjoying the scenery. I couldn't comprehend the fuss over simply looking at the view. I retorted, what's the big deal about looking at the view? That's not okay? This view is for the guests who use your hotel. If we can't afford it, then please hurry and let us leave. Attempting to shoo us away, the manager exclaimed, Are you possibly thinking about a dreamy garden wedding? It's useless. Do you have any idea how much it costs to rent out this entire garden? Please make your way out. As he said this, he even sprayed me with a hose. Startled and frustrated, I exclaimed, "Stop loitering and get going." Oh no, I'm all wet now. What is this old guy thinking? Doubts began to creep in about the safety and integrity of this hotel, even if the manager wasn't the one in charge. Suddenly, a voice interrupted our conversation. "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" Surprised, I turned to see the stray cat in the garden, and the person who spoke said, "There was a stray cat in the garden. I was just sprinkling water to clean it up." "Oh, it's still here." He threatened to spray water again, but my boyfriend, fed up with his behavior, shouted, "Are you referring to Emma as a stray cat? Enough is enough. Is this how a person in hospitality behaves? Spraying water on people? Hey, call the cops." Anticipating that things would escalate, I couldn't bear the thought of getting soaked any further. Filled with anger, I told my boyfriend, "I want to change my clothes. Let's go." I dragged him back to the car, eager to leave the place behind. We had come to this hotel with excitement, hoping to plan our dream wedding, but it had turned into a distressing ordeal. The atmosphere felt completely different from when we had visited on our date. It was as if it had transformed into a completely different hotel. The wet clothes I was wearing served as a stark reminder of the unpleasant reality. Fortunately, I had spare clothes in the car, and after changing and feeling somewhat refreshed, my boyfriend asked me, "Emma, what do you want to do? Do you still want to have our wedding at this hotel?" At that moment, I honestly didn't care much anymore, but I responded, "I don't know. The hotel itself is lovely, but I'm not sure about the staff." He simply nodded and said, "I see. Let's think about it a bit," and that marked the end of our conversation on the matter. In the following days, we decided to visit and discuss our plans with both of our families. We informed them that we would prefer a small and intimate ceremony with only close friends and family, and asked them to hold off on finalizing the location. We attended bridal fairs at various hotels, searching for the perfect venue, but none seemed to capture our hearts just right. I was feeling a bit stuck, contemplating the possibility of a destination wedding. As I flipped through a bridal magazine with these thoughts in mind, my boyfriend called. "Emma, we did it. We can get married at that hotel," he exclaimed. Confused, I asked, "What do you mean?" He went on to explain, "It was a bit of a struggle, but since it's my hotel now, you can plan the wedding any way you like." Can you believe it? I've been working on this all along. Turns out, I'm the son of a wealthy family, and we managed to acquire that hotel under our chain of hotels. The old man said if I wanted to get married, I should become the hotel owner, he said, sounding quite pleased with himself. I was left speechless by his unexpected actions, but we decided to visit the hotel the following week. Finally, the day arrived. On the way there, my boyfriend cheerfully remarked, "That hotel's reputation hasn't been great lately, and it's been affecting the business side of things. So, I'll work on making it a better hotel, okay?" He seemed to be enjoying himself. The last time we were there, the experience was nerve-wracking due to how we were treated. But this time, the hotel staff appeared professional and ready to welcome their new owner. As I looked around, I noticed that the bellboy who had once scoffed at us was now bowing deeply to welcome us. If they could treat us properly now, they should have done so from the beginning. Knowing about their previous terrible service, their current behavior seemed insincere. It was tempting to laugh at them, but I knew I had to maintain my composure. The hotel manager approached us with a welcoming smile and said, "Welcome, Mr. Owner." Not only the manager, but also the concierge and the rest of the staff greeted us respectfully. They didn't seem to recognize that we were the same people they had treated poorly before. It was shocking to witness such a stark contrast in treatment based on appearance. Their rapid change in attitude was honestly appalling, but it served as a valuable lesson for me. We were then shown to the owner's suite, and the manager fawned over us. "We've been eagerly awaiting the arrival of the new owner, and to think it's someone as young as you. It's truly impressive that you are the owner of this hotel at your age." Your wife is also quite beautiful. A truly stunning couple. I couldn't help but think, who is this guy? He called us stray cats before, and now he's calling us handsome and beautiful. It was baffling how he could have such a drastic shift in perception. It was as if he didn't remember us at all, just like the manager who couldn't recall customers' faces. We decided to wait for a while since he mentioned creating a space for us to greet the employees later. As the manager left to prepare, I turned to my boyfriend and said, "What's up with that manager? He doesn't know anything about us, does he? Handsome and beautiful? Seriously, it seems like he didn't notice at all. It's kind of impressive in that way. LOL. Well, he looks enthusiastic, so I guess it's fine if he does what he wants. But is it okay for that guy to be the manager?" I reassured him, saying, "I know, don't worry. I've thought about it." As we continued our conversation, it was time for him to address the gathered employees. He made his way to the hall where they were gathered, and with confidence, he spoke up. "I have become the owner of this hotel," he announced. "I know you may feel uneasy since I'm young, but rest assured, the headquarters will manage the business firmly. We plan to operate this hotel as a secluded hideaway, different from the luxury hotels in the city that existed before. After renovating the aging parts, we will have a grand reopening to mark the beginning of a new era for this hotel. And to commemorate this special occasion, I will also have my own wedding ceremony here." The unexpected and joyous announcement stirred up excitement among the employees. He then called me to join him on stage to introduce his fiancée. As I walked up, I noticed the manager standing proudly beside him, but his expression quickly turned to utter surprise. "That person is the owner?" the manager exclaimed. "That's my fiancée." "Oh, it wasn't our first meeting, was it? You didn't recognize me either, did you?" Following his lead, I was dressed in a t-shirt, denim, and sneakers, just as I had been on our previous visit to the hotel. It seemed that by simply changing my clothes, he immediately remembered who I was. It was clear that this manager judged people solely by their appearance. Looking around, I could see the bell staff and front desk staff, who had laughed at us that day, now staring at us with wide eyes. The concierge seemed pale and nervous, his eyes darting around, as if he had finally recognized us this time. My boyfriend continued addressing the employees, explaining the situation to those who were clueless about what had transpired that day. "Actually, we visited this hotel the other day, and at that time, we were both dressed like her now," he said, gesturing towards me. "I received her approval for my proposal, and we were ecstatic about the idea of having our wedding here." The bellboy interjected, saying, "Ah, that's you, right? You ignored us without even saying welcome and laughed at us." The front desk staff whispered among themselves, looking remorseful for their past behavior. Finally, the concierge seemed to remember us and the incident, his expression filled with guilt. "You didn't listen or pay attention when we expressed our desire to have our wedding here," my boyfriend pointed out. "You told us that poor people should go home. But now, as the owner of this hotel, I want to make a change. We will ensure that every guest is treated with respect and warmth, regardless of their background." The employees stood there, realizing the impact of their previous actions and the transformation that awaited them under the new ownership. "The worst was you, the manager," my boyfriend declared firmly. "Actually, I recorded our conversation from the middle of it. I'll let everyone hear it." He proceeded to play the recording of our previous exchange with the manager. As the conversation played, disbelief and shock spread across the faces of the employees. "They called them poor people? Isn't that terrible treatment?" the employees murmured in disbelief. The manager, on the other hand, turned pale and began trembling as the audio came to an end. He knew the severity of his actions. "As you can see, we were treated as poor simply because of our modest attire. And in the end, we were doused with water and driven out. This is unacceptable, isn't it?" my boyfriend addressed the crowd, receiving nods of agreement in response. Regardless of what we were wearing, I come from a family that owns a chain of hotels, and she is the daughter of a big pharmaceutical company CEO. We are not poor. This time, we were advised by your manager here to become owners if we wanted to have our wedding here. But what if we were other guests? This should never happen, right? He paused, allowing his words to sink in. The employees contemplated the situation, realizing the importance of providing equal and respectful treatment to all guests. The manager and concierge were demoted, starting from scratch and learning from the cleaning staff. Those staff members who had been neglected despite their excellence, as well as deserving part-timers, were promoted to better positions. My boyfriend carefully selected the right people for each role, fostering a lively and vibrant working environment. He actively listened to opinions and swiftly implemented good ideas with a sense of urgency. Even as an onlooker, you could feel the overall atmosphere of the hotel improving. Applause filled the room, reflecting the collective determination to make this the best hotel. Under his guidance, the hotel was successfully transformed. By the way, we were able to hold our wedding ceremony at the hotel as initially planned. However, we kept it low-key during a quieter time. Approximately a year later, my boyfriend decided to hand over the hotel management to a new manager and step down. It should be okay now, he said, though the real reason was that he wanted more time to indulge in his favorite video games.